Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to top 10 most expensive video game consoles ever. Uh, I'm assuming that the PS5 Pro ain't on here. I think we can go to throw the PlayStation 3 on here too, because that was ridiculous. It was in the middle of a recession, and these motherfuckers want to put out a $600 console. Okay, Sony done lost their rabbit ass mind. But anyways, though, without further ado, man, let's get right into this.
Certainly not a cheap hobby. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most expensive video game consoles. For this list, we'll be looking at the most expensive gaming consoles of all time and ranking them based on their American price. We won't be ranking the consoles based on their initial price at time of release, but their price when adjusted for inflation. We also won't be including the $2,500 Halcyon, as that console was never officially released to the public.
Welcome to Halcyon. Do you want to play Sayers Quest?
Yes.
Number 10. Magnavox Odyssey 2. $180 adjusted to $640.
I'm up to my eyeballs in a mine shaft with Odyssey 2's new video game, Pickaxe Beat. Big Beat, escape up the ladder.
$180 for this? Fart on this.
Smash the boulders. Now, grab the elusive key to go.
The Magnavox Odyssey 2 goes by many names. In Europe, it was the Philips VideoPack G7000, which, may we say, is a very catchy name. In Brazil, it was the Philips Odyssey, and in Japan, it was simply Odyssey 2. Released in 1978 in Europe and 1979 in North America, this console was a direct competitor to the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision.
Y'all 70s, 80s niggas got it, bro.
It was also the cheapest option of the three at just $180. We say just, but that is the equivalent of about $650 today. Despite being the cheapest option, it never sold as well as its competitors, and the Odyssey quickly faded into history and obscurity. Number 9. Sega Saturn. $400 adjusted to $680.
Combining three 32-bit RISC processors with 5 additional processors to create a head-snapping 500,000 polygons per second.
Saturn's launch in North America was an unmitigated disaster. They were massively upstaged by Sony, whose PlayStation was $100 cheaper. Sega had also failed to notify major retailers like Best Buy and Walmart of their surprise release, and KB Toys essentially told Sega to pound sand by refusing to sell the console.
Play your games in the 21st century and leave the rest of the world behind.
The Saturn's premature release also meant that it launched with just 6 games. Even worse, the Saturn's killer app, being Virtua Fighter, was never super popular in North America, so no one really cared. All this combined into a historically disastrous launch, and the Saturn was steamrolled by the PlayStation just 4 months later.
Real painful.
Sega. Saturn.
Number 8. Atari 5200. $270 adjusted to $720.
It lets you freeze the action.
Hello, Judy.
The new 5200 Super System.
Now, if you want to talk about unmitigated disasters, let's talk about the Atari 5200. When it was released in 1982, the Atari 5200 cost $270, which is roughly the equivalent of $720 today. This certainly wasn't unheard of, as most video game consoles at the time were ridiculously expensive, including its famous predecessor. But absolutely no one was paying $720 for this.
Ain't no way, bro.
It was ugly. It didn't have any good games, it wasn't backwards compatible with the 2600, the analog controller was terrible, and it couldn't compete with ColecoVision's library. In short, people were perfectly happy with their 2600, and they were unwilling to fork over the equivalent of $700 for this mess of a console.
For 2600 games? Nearly 300 2600 games. Super! System, now with a $30 rebate and Pac-Man from Atari.
Number 7. Fairchild Channel F. $170 adjusted to $770.
Play tic-tac-toe, shooting gallery, or just doodle. Switch video carts and play Desert Fox. Switch again, it's blackjack. Or play the 2 built-in games, Pro Hockey or Tennis Champ.
What is the Fairchild Channel F, you ask? Well, it's a piece of gaming history. This was actually the very first ROM cartridge-based video game console, and it was released throughout North America in November of 1976.
The Fairchild Video Entertainment System, just $169.95.
Despite its historic status, the Fairchild Channel F was quickly dwarfed by the Atari 2600 when it was released in September 1977. Upon release in 1976, the Channel F, which stands for Channel Fun, was priced at $170, about $770 when adjusted for inflation. It's not a bad price by any means, considering how novel the technology was at the time. That said, it's still a lot of money, as will be proved by our next entry.
The home entertainment system that never gets old.
Number 6, PlayStation 3. $600 adjusted to $770.
This is ridiculous.
The PS3 disaster proves the importance of an inviting price point. Sony was the ruler of the gaming landscape throughout the 6th generation, as the PS2 was an unprecedented success.
They got a little too cocky and they thought that because we PlayStation, we can just do whatever we want to do. What did PlayStation do? It's crazy how PlayStation flipped the script. The next console with the PlayStation 4, they flipped the script on Microsoft. But when they started rolling out the PS5, they reverted back to their ways. So it just goes to show you how scumbag of a company this is. And you wouldn't think these companies would be scumbags. You'd think they would just be good companies that care about their customers. No, they never cared. They just did fan service because they fucked up on the PS3. So they was trying to get their get back with the PlayStation 4, and they succeeded. But at the same time, it's like they showed us who they really are this whole time when they dropped the PlayStation 3.
Success. And all that came crashing down at E3 2006.
And the 60-gigabyte PlayStation 3 for $599 US, $659 Canadian.
This was a historically embarrassing showing for Sony, as nearly every facet of the conference was memed and ridiculed. Perhaps worst of all was the price unveiling, which was met by a painfully uncomfortable silence by the palpably disappointed audience. Of course, you could buy the 26GB model for $500, but that $600 60GB model was the only one to feature Wi-Fi capabilities and an HDMI port. Sony's reputation crumbled, and the PS3 suffered a calamitous launch.
For a cumulative of 6 million units by the end of our fiscal year on March 31st, 2007.
Number 5. Atari 2600. $200 adjusted to $850.
It's the video system with classics galore, from Space Invaders to cars that roar. A real hip joystick controls the screen.
The Atari 2600 is arguably the most iconic video game console in history, yet this beast cost the equivalent of $850 in 1977.
That's crazy.
That said, the 2600 was an immediate success, and it wasn't until 1980 that it really took off.
The new Atari cartridge game is in.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh, George again.
That was when Atari licensed Space Invaders, which quickly became the console's killer app. The game instantly doubled Atari sales, and Pac-Man helped even more when it was released in 1982. A significant price reduction must also be credited for the console's success, as it cost just $125 by 1982, or about $335 today. In the end, the Atari 2600 sold approximately 30 million units, making it one of the most successful consoles of its day.
It's the new video computer game everyone's talking about, and naturally, it's from Atari.
Have you played Atari today?
Number 4. Intellivision. $300 adjusted to $940.
Intellivision PGA Golf. From tee to green, the gameplay is incredibly realistic.
Serving as the main competitor to the Atari 2600, Mattel's Intellivision was revealed nationwide in 1980, 3 years after the release of the 2600. And while that console's price was slowly coming down, the Intellivision launched for an unbelievable $300, about $940 in today's money.
That's crazy.
That said, it had the power and innovation to back it up.
Here, compare for yourself. Intellivision Space Games from Mattel Electronics.
It had a 16-bit microprocessor, downloaded video games, the ability to play back voices, and the first controller to offer directional thumb pads, among other innovations. Regardless, it wasn't nearly as big as the Atari 2600, and it sold just 3 million units throughout the early 80s.
Then I compared Atari football with Intellivision. Again, Intellivision played more like the real game.
Number 3, 3DO. $700 adjusted to $1,250.
The intense realism of Panasonic Real 3DO.
Apparently.
The 3D.
They was really trying to convince y'all. 90s, 80s niggas. They was really trying to convince y'all that this is worth more than $150. Like listen, back in those times, $150 max is what these things are worth. Ain't no fucking way, bro. Ain't no fucking way, bro. Ain't no fucking way, bro.
Hey, boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no 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 fucking way, boy.
Ain't no fucking way, dog. Ain't no fucking way. Y'all telling me that. Y'all telling us that. Y'all telling me that in the 90s and the 80s, they was charging y'all more than $150 for these weak ass consoles with these garbage ass graphics. Ain't no fucking way, dog.
3DO was actually created by EA founder Trip Hawkins and was released in North America in October 1993. This was touted as the most cutting-edge and technologically innovative gaming console of its time. And despite being named Time's 1993 Product of the Year, its launch was a messy one indeed.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe.
Developers struggled with the technology, the console launched with just one game, and Panasonic, being the first company to produce the 3DO technology, failed to ship enough units to retailers. All that, combined with its egregious $700 price point, was enough to turn away consumers. It sold just 2 million units over its painfully short 27-month life cycle.
Definitely.
Cool.
The real 3DO system from Panasonic.
Number 2, Neo Geo. $650 adjusted to $1,290.
Here I am, peoples, just hanging out at the factory where they make these Neo Geo multi-video systems. Now, what these things are is that you can play 4 different games on this machine. But that's not all. I got another surprise for you.
The Neo Geo is an interesting console. It was originally released as a cartridge-based arcade machine called the Multi-Video System. However, a home console version was also released. This was called the Advanced Entertainment System, and it had the same raw specs as the arcade machine. This means that it was very, very powerful and very expensive.
You wanted more power, arcade-like 4-dimensional graphics, and 15-channel stereo sound.
It was only available to rent due to its exorbitant cost, but this changed over time due to high demand. When it eventually debuted as the Gold System in North America, it cost a staggering $650, just about $1,300 today. Even the games cost upwards of $400 in today's money. Needless to say, it never broke into the mainstream market.
You pull your memory card out of the memory card slot, and now the next time I play a Neo Geo game, I continue from where I left off.
Want more video game content? Check out our gaming channel Mojo Plays and discover games and ideas you never knew existed, with more lists, breakdowns, and our latest series, Arcade Roulette.
Justin and John are in. Oh. There's a lot of things being ripped off in this game.
Number 1, Philips CDI. $1,000 adjusted to $1,900.
Damn!
This may look like an ordinary compact disc, but actually, it's an interactive encyclopedia. A stimulating match with a tennis pro.
Now, the CDI isn't specifically a video game console. Rather, CDI refers to the data storage format. It served as a cheaper alternative to home computers and provided interactive multimedia content such as web browsing, email access, interactive encyclopedias, and all the features of a CD player.
So basically, it was like a it was basically like a PlayStation 3 before PlayStation 3. Okay.
Remember when CDs and emails were all the rage?
What is... It's the new way to watch movies. You kids like movies. How about movies on CDI?
The device eventually became known for its many terrible video games, which were played on interactive CDI discs. The first model for home purchase was the CDI 910/205, which cost upwards of $1,000 at launch, equivalent to nearly $2,000 today. It just goes to show how much cheaper technology has gotten over the intervening 30 years.
Hey, want to fight the forces of evil in Korodai? Check it out, it's easy.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays.
Nah, I'm good. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. Y'all 80s and 90s niggas got it, bro. They was selling y'all bullshit and trying to convince you that you should pay more than $150 for this console right here. I see. That's why it ain't no game. I see why it ain't no more video game companies now. I see why it ain't no more video game companies now, because damn. But anyway, so let's just go about do it for this one. I will see you in the next video. Till then, peace out.